Hello squad, welcome to another video. Today I'm going to talk about my favorite card of the set, Here to Help, and yeah, we'll have a discussion. But before we start, just look at this card. It's just so beautiful. It's such a beast of a card. Portal's so cute, and I love portals. And who doesn't love top portals, right? Everybody loves portals. Um, but yeah, so what's with the idea? Well, first of all, I saw this card and gave me the Yu-Gi-Oh part of me just kind of tingled. And I'm like, hey, Here to Help. Plus, Brynhire, that is just equal to DDD Kali Yuga. And for those of you that doesn't know what Kali Yuga is, well, it's about half of a Kali Yuga because it's, Riftbound have kind of stricter timings. But for those of you that doesn't know, it's basically a time warp, right? So now we can have two card that for a total of about 3 mana, we can have a time warp with conditions, of course. But this was pretty cool. This gave me an idea to dig a little bit deeper. So, suggested deck that can go with this combo. Well, we got Lucian, right? And this is the top Lucian deck from Nanjing Top 32, right? Covered this on our channel before. Lucian already plays Brynhire, which is a no-brainer. Lucian lacks defensive options, so we can probably find space for Here to help with Lucian to play the set combo. But not just Brynhire. We also works well with Akshan in this deck that Lucian also plays. So what does Akshan do? Well, with Here to Help plus Akshan versus Fiora and BF Sword, our 2 card beats their 2 card because Akshan doesn't target the Fiora, he just targets the weapon, so we don't have to pay deflect costs for this. Here's to Help plus Akshan also beats Draven Spinning Axe, right? Even if he procs his Draven skill, we'll be able to steal the axe, which is 3, right? And we'll be at 7 and mostly be at 6. Pretty cool. We will also be able to steal Aurora with this combo, where even if they do nothing during the turn, at the end of the turn when Aurora activates, that starts a chain. If they were to do anything that opens a chain, we just get the Aurora right away, and they don't even get the first proc. So I think this, again, going back to Lucian, this deck already plays a bunch of really good cards that works well with Here to Help, right? And you can still play Here to Help with just a normal card that lets you play a unit at low cost, right? And even if you don't use it during your opponent's turn, you can, play it during next turn for a very strong tempo play. Another deck that I'm going to suggest is Sivir, and this is, this is a Randy deck that topped in Dalian that everybody knows. Why does this deck that should, potentially play Here to Help? Well, we got Fizz and Akshan as targets. Lots of spell option for Fizz. And, we have potential of 0 mana countering Time Warp. So, let's take a look of some of the situations. So we have Fizz plus Here's to Help, right? If they play Time Warp, because, we can say, hey, we have no mana, right? And then against purple, they will normally play Time Warp only when you have nothing up, right? But with Fizz, with Here to Help, you can play the Here to Help, play Fizz, and then play Hard Bargain. Which, again, if you have 2 mana, right, you can count if they have 12 and you only have 2 up, or if they're 10 and you have 0 up, you can counter the Time Warp. So it's it's a big surprise, and that's a big game turning point when it comes to big spell deck. We can also, right, beat Draven and his combos with, depends on the situation, we can play Rebuke with Fizz. Or If the Draven was, they were greedy and they just moved up a unit first, or anybody that moves up a unit first, we can play Here to Help, we can play Fizz, and then we look at Sabotage, and we can sabotage their hand and, get rid of the interaction they meant to play in the first place, which is pretty strong as well. We can also do, counter a Cathian Ring was Here to Help with, Unyielding Spirit. Once they target, we play Here to Help, Fizz, and then Fizz plays Unyielding Spirit. Okay, so, the sequence of Fizz, just for some clarity, this is how actually going to work. Let's say player, we play Here's to Help, put it into the chain. Reaction opportunity, let's assume nothing happens for our opponent. Here's to Help resolves, putting Fizz onto the chain as pending. Says no card can start resolving while other card Here's to Help is still resolving. You then finish resolving and goes to the trash. Finalize Fizz, pays cost, choose where to play him, resolves instantly since he's a unit. His play effect triggers and goes onto the chain. You choose the spell to play with it. Reaction opportunity to trigger for your opponent. Let's assume nothing happens. Trigger resolves, puts the chosen spell onto the chain as pending. Finalize the spell, paying potential additional costs, and choose targets. So that's the sequence of Fizz. Again, it will be pretty cool for people to use to be very, very reactive with some of these options. Okay, the last thing I want to talk about is, with the Here to Help Fizz combo, you can place spells that add reaction speed, not normally a reaction spell, which opens up a lot of possibility. I think this combo has a lot of healing potential to be discovered. These are just some of the examples I can think of right now, but if you have ideas or if you have some interesting combos with Here to Help, leave it down in the comments. Let me know, because I'm also learning. That's it for the video of Here to Help. If you liked the video, please subscribe. See you guys in the next one.